Rarely will you find somebody who can squeeze as much in a single day as our guest today. It's Carlos Silva, CEO of World Team Tennis, just pulled off an event, a job well done, getting in some great talent, created a bubble, world-class tennis players donning on this summer's edition of World Team Tennis. We're going to ask how Carlos was able to pull this off and many things in that realm, but want to first introduce myself. I'm Bryan Fenley. I'm a national anchor for Fox Sports Radio. I'm on Twitter at Bryan Fenley. You can follow Carlos, of course, on Twitter at Carlos Silva. Okay, Carlos, I want to dive into everything you were able to pull off this summer, but first, what was your defining moment as a tennis player?
You know, we all want to. I guess we all want to win Wimbledon, but like my coach said, if it was easy to win Wimbledon, everyone would want to win Wimbledon. You know, for me, I had a nice college career. Played for 4 years at Boston College. We were what I would sort of define as at the bottom of Division I, but it was a Division I school, Big East. We won a lot of Big East conferences, so that was great. Singles and doubles and team championships. Sort of riding the Flutie era, which was a lot of fun. And then I went up to Canada. I tried the satellites. I wanted to at least give it a try. So I went up and played what was then the Molson circuit. I lost in qualifying at a couple of stops. And I think it was either the third or the fourth stop, I made it through the qualifying. I won 3 matches in qualifying. I beat, I think it was the number 1 seed in qualifying in the last round of qualifying, made the main draw. So I got in the main draw. And unfortunately, I think I put out a lot of effort in qualifying, and I ended up losing first round in qualifying. But, when you make the main draw and you lose in the first round, you get to go to the tent and you get to pick up a pro paycheck. It was my only pro paycheck that I ever earned. It was 232 Canadian dollars. I remember it well. And I cashed it, and I could, at least say that my journey had let me become a professional tennis player, even if just for, sort of a cup of coffee. And so, yeah, I guess that was at the top. I missed making the Masters, which was the season ending part of that little tour, because I finished 33rd out of everyone, and the top 32 made it to the Masters in that last stop. So I left, I went home, and I decided not to go to Spain, and I had enrolled and got accepted at GW to do a master's program. So I came back to DC, and I went to GW, and I got a master's degree done. So that was great. No complaints at all.
To understand your success in tennis, you've had a perspective that a lot of people who are in charge of running events or are head of content and production companies don't get, and that is being a professional tennis player, which allows you to really see how to make something function in such a vibrant way. Carlos Silva is with us, CEO of World Team Tennis, a man who is very forward-thinking. He's a problem solver. He gets the job done. And let's go back to this summer when the situation looked dire with innumerable amount of obstacles. Why was it no option to you that this was going to happen, that you were going to see this season through regardless?
Well, the team worked really hard, but we had a common theme, and we were monitoring all of the goings on, and you sort of are on, you remember, Bryan, you're on Twitter all day, every day, like, oh, this is canceled, that's canceled, this is being delayed, this is being pushed, these guys have moved their dates. And so, you just kind of kept monitoring. We kept trying to find a solution, because the way that I saw it is it only would take 30 seconds to cancel the season. Literally, you could cancel the season anytime. You just send an email, you send it to everybody, and you just say, guys, we're going to cancel the season. So I know we could always do that. Yeah. And so we just sort of figured, let's keep our heads down and let's just keep searching to see if we could find a solution. And with a little bit of luck and a lot of hard work, we found a great partner in the Greenbrier, and we found a safe place, and really happy to say that, I don't know if this is right or not, but we were clean. We were perfect. We had all negative tests, over 800 tests conducted in the course of those 3 weeks. And I think everyone had a great time, and we ended up having a fabulous season and a stupendous finals on CBS with with Coco Vandeweghe, as I like to say, walk off for him to win the whole title.
And with that came some record TV numbers as far as ratings and World Team Tennis. What level of pressure did you feel, Carlos, to see this thing through without hiccups? Because you knew other professional leagues would watch how you were handling things, whether it's the ATP, the WTA, or even other sports, just to see how this bubble formula works and if it can actually work out.
I mean, a lot. Unfortunately, in these times that we live in, there's almost a very clear line between being successful and not, and it's so unclear what failure means right now because we don't really know what's going on with the virus. I mean, everyone can talk about it, and I know more than I used to know, but no one really knows, and so.
Sure.
It was hard, every day you just sort of went to bed and you were hoping that everyone would stay safe and sort of stick to the protocols, and that mostly happened, and we got through the season, and we had a great finals, and the really great thing about it is even after the season, so many of our players and staff and important people went other places and had to get tested yet again 3-4 days after leaving us, and we're still negative. So sort of happy that we were able to keep everyone safe and bring back tennis and bring back sport. Cause we're sort of, I hope, and it feels like everyone's cheering for everyone for that to happen, no matter what the sport is.
What's the most profound thing a player that was involved in this summer's edition of World Team Tennis told you, as far as a compliment, as far as how you were able to do this?
Yeah, I don't know that any one stuck out. I can tell you that, there was one moment I saw Jeannie Bouchard. She was walking out of the stadium, and a fan came up to her, and they weren't supposed to, and asked her for an autograph. And I intervened and told him that, she couldn't take his Sharpie from him. And I was able to grab a fresh Sharpie from the tent where they were selling them. So I grabbed her a fresh Sharpie and I gave it to her. Obviously I had been tested, and she signed an autograph for a fan. And then the fan wanted to take a picture with her, and she said, "No problem, but I have to stand 6 feet away from you and wear a mask." And it just really was nice that we were, kind of all in it together.
Yeah.
And, it didn't matter who you were, whether you were, me as a CEO or Jeannie as a player or a production person or whoever, everyone was on the team together. And it was like, we really there's nothing more true than we either all, won together or we all failed together. And so it just really, it kind of warmed my heart that everything that we were putting in place in that moment, I didn't have to be the police person. Jeannie wanted to be safe, and that she was a player and she wanted to make sure none of her other players or anything got messed up. And I thought that was really great.
What was the hardest thing logistically to see through to make all of this operational?
Just a lot of people, over 100 people, 150 people, players coming from all countries. We brought in players from overseas. They had to quarantine when they got to the States for 14 days before even coming to the Greenbrier. But I think the hardest thing overall was just that there really weren't any rules. And there weren't, everyone was sort of making it up as we went. I mean, including the government, including everybody, including the state, everyone. And, and still we are. And I think with that, it was hard because we sort of had to make up our rules based on all the recommendations that we got, because we didn't get rules from anyone. We got recommendations from everybody. And so with that, we were able to put together, I think, a set of protocols that worked. And we also happened to be in a really great remote location. And maybe because we were, one of the first really back, I think everyone was really eager for it to be successful too, because I think they all wanted, all the players certainly wanted to play, and certainly the staff and the coaches and everyone were just excited to be there. So I think it was just sort of a collective good that helped us succeed.
Carlos Silva with us, CEO of World Team Tennis. I'm Bryan Fenley with Fox Sports Radio. 2 more questions for you, Carlos. Among all the accomplishments that you've had in your career, whether it's at World Team Tennis or prior stops where you've done great work, where does what you did this summer with the WTT stand?
I think it's at the top. I mean, I mean, there could be others that are at the top as well, but it's definitely at the top or tied at the top with other things. I don't a lot of people, didn't give us a chance. There were a lot of naysayers out there. I think we stayed positive and we ended up having a great season. And what's funny about it, Bryan, is, even once we were done, there were still some naysayers. I mean, it was really kind of unbelievable. It's like, guys, we're done. It's a wrap. Like we put a bow around it. Everyone's safe. We brought it back. Like, you can't tell me what we did was bad.
Sure.
It's like, can't. But there were still people that, still I, hear from people, oh, you guys were just lucky. It's like, yeah, maybe we were a little lucky. But, sometimes hard work and luck go hand in hand. And so it definitely is definitely up there at the top. I was very proud of what we did and what the team did.
Perhaps they go hand in hand, but they are in good hands with Carlos Silva. My final question for you is your vision when we get back to a level of normalcy, Carlos, around the world and, eliminating or putting the clamps on the coronavirus. How do you want to see World Team Tennis continue to expand? I know you have a lot of great vision and goals for it, but what could that look like in the future?
I think there's been a lot of talk about, the men's and women's game coming together. The men and women are together already in World Team Tennis. We hope we can continue to sort of wave that flag for everybody. I hope we can continue to expand into more cities. And I really hope we can put world into World Team Tennis and look at maybe a group in Europe or a group in Asia or a group in South America that plays a regular season and then advances to the playoffs. I think all those things are on our list. I think 21 is fast approaching, and we got to be smart about 2021 first, and then I think we look at continuing to get maybe more normal in 22. I think 21 will start to get normal, but I don't think it'll be normal yet. Sure. I just think people's brains are going to now be a little preconditioned to wait. And it's just going to take a little time. But I think we learned a lot this year. There were a lot of goods that came out of it. It was great having the players be ball kids for each other. That was a great sort of lucky thing that came out of it. It was great having a lot of the teams together in one location. And it was great being at the Greenbrier. And there's, I think, some possibilities to do some things with them, possibly for the playoffs and the finals too. And so we're just going to try and look for the goods that came out of the season and continue to make WTT healthy and exciting.
He's one of the best problem solvers in the game. If Carlos Silva can do it, I don't think there's many others that can. What he was able to pull off and continues to do, that forward-thinking mindset has proved so beneficial for him throughout his career. Carlos Silva, CEO of World Team Tennis. I'm Bryan Fenley. Carlos, thanks so much for a couple minutes of your time. I know you're a busy guy.
Thanks, Bryan. Great to talk to you. Look forward to doing it again.